in a vast and vibrant forest, where the trees stood tall and the rivers sang as they flowed. The lion found a cozy spot beneath a giant baobab tree. She was a tiny creature with bright eyes and a playful heart. She loved adventure and mischief. She darted across his enormous paw, dashed up his leg, ran along his spine, and then slid down his furry tail like a slide. His brows furrowed, and he let out a thunderous growl that shook the very leaves above. Before the mouse could escape, a massive paw pinned her firmly to the ground. "Do you know what I do to pests like you?" She took a deep breath and spoke with sincerity. "Spare me this once. I promise I will never forget your kindness. And who knows, someday I might be able to help you in return. Now go, and never disturb me again." And today, the scent of leftover meat had drawn her close to the sleeping king. The lion roared, his hot breath washing over the trembling mouse. "Help me!" he chuckled, and before he could react, thick ropes sprang up and wrapped tightly around his powerful limbs. The more he struggled, the tighter the net became. His proud roars of fury echoed through the trees. "You are barely bigger than one of my claws. What could a speck like you ever do for me? Thank you, great king. I shall never forget this day." Then he burst out laughing, a deep, booming laugh that startled the birds above. "Oh, great king!" He slowly lifted his paw and let the mouse scurry away. "Please forgive me. I didn't mean any harm. I was just playing. I didn't realize." And the mouse returned to her cozy little hole beneath a tree root, always remembering the mercy she'd been shown. "You dare crawl on me like I'm some sort of playground." When she saw the lion's massive body stretched out in the sun, silently, they laid a trap in a narrow path often used by the lion. The strong net was hidden beneath a layer of leaves, and ropes were tied to nearby trees. She couldn't help but marvel at how majestic and powerful he looked. But then a bold idea popped into her little mind. The warm sun filtered through the leaves above, casting soft, dappled shadows on the forest floor. With a deep sigh, the lion stretched out his limbs, yawned mightily, and drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep. There lived a lion. Not just any lion, but the undisputed ruler of the jungle. His roar echoed across the land, causing deer to freeze in place, monkeys to scramble up trees, and even the wind seemed to pause to listen. Animals respected him, feared him, and kept their distance, for he was powerful, proud, and preferred to be alone. One sunny afternoon, after feasting on a satisfying meal of fresh meat, not far from where the lion lay, a curious little mouse was scampering about. What would it feel like to climb the king himself? She thought. Without a second thought, the mouse scurried over and began to play on the lion's back, treating him like a living jungle gym. She squeaked with delight. What fun! But her fun was cut short. The lion's eyes snapped open. "Who dares disturb my sleep?" The mouse squealed in terror, wriggling under his paw. "You didn't realize," the lion interrupted, baring his sharp teeth. The mouse's tiny heart pounded, but instead of pleading for her life in fear, she did something unexpected. "Please, noble lion." The lion blinked. "You." But despite himself, the lion was amused, and perhaps still a bit full from his recent meal. "Consider yourself lucky today," he said. The mouse bowed low. Days passed, and life in the forest went on as usual. The lion continued to rule with strength and pride. Then, one morning, the peaceful forest was disturbed by an unfamiliar scent. The scent of humans. Hunters had entered the jungle. As fate would have it, the lion, patrolling his territory, stepped into the trap without noticing. The ground shifted beneath him. Hearing the desperate sound, animals all across the forest froze, and in her quiet burrow, the little mouse looked up, her ears twitching. She recognized that voice. That's the lion. He's in trouble. Without wasting a second, she dashed through the underbrush, following the sound of his cries. When she arrived, she saw the once mighty king tangled and helpless. "You hold still," she said calmly. "I'm going to help." "What are you doing here? This is no place for you." His golden mane caught in a net, his eyes wild with frustration. "My king," the mouse called out. The lion looked at her in disbelief, but the mouse was already climbing up the ropes. Using her sharp little teeth, she began gnawing at the thick cords. It was tough work, but she didn't stop. They were met with an angry roar. The lion, free and furious, charged at them with a mouse darting at his side. Terrified, the hunters dropped their nets and fled back to their village, never to return to that forest again. One strand, then another, and another. Slowly but surely, the net began to loosen. Finally, with a great shake, the lion broke free and stood up tall once again. You saved me," the lion said. "But of the little mouse who showed that even the smallest creature can make the biggest difference. I never thought, I never imagined." The mouse smiled. "You have taught me something I will never forget. Strength is not measured by size. Today, the smallest creature in the forest became the bravest. You were kind to me when I was helpless." The lion watched over the mouse's home to keep her safe, and the mouse often came to visit, climbing playfully up his back and sliding down his tail. Now with the lion laughing along. "Today, I returned the favor." The lion bowed his great head. From that day on, the lion and the mouse became the most unlikely of friends. But the story doesn't end there. When the hunters returned with a cart to collect their prize, peace returned to the jungle. But now, it had a new legend, not just of the king of beasts,